I want to make a few opening comments. I'm masked up because I have a virus, not COVID, tested positive, negative, and not the flu, some undetermined nature, but for everyone's safety. So the Restore program, a New York Communities Initiative, provides municipalities with financial assistance for the revitalization of commercial and/or residential properties. The program encourages community development and neighborhood growth through the elimination and redevelopment of blighted structures. So we are in the midst of developing an application for this program, and it has been a very short window for us to develop a proposal. And we initially looked at the focus on workforce housing development to take to address properties that are contiguous in nature and are either abandoned, condemned, unoccupied, or severely blighted, and to provide incentives to the property owners to develop their properties with funding through the Empire State Development Corporation. So we were looking at the west end of the village primarily, which included properties of Sam Gill, who has several cabanas which are unoccupied, the Mariah Court, which has an estimated 6 units that have that could be redeveloped. The adjoining property currently owned by Fleischman's DNR is the property with a parking lot. We also were looking at Shamoun Salih's property, which has 5 cabanas which have been unoccupied for over 15 years and are covered with tarps, and the Yellow House beyond that on Main Street. So we were looking at contiguous properties that could create a potentially successful application. In this process, I have met with the majority of properties, also including the property adjacent to us here, which is not contiguous, but to be considered for demolition as part of this program. So during this process, meeting with all of these property owners, we have not been very successful in getting movement forward on these properties. And in fact, through communications with the funders, or communications primarily with the property owners, the majority of them have withdrawn for a variety of reasons. One, a potential sale, another, lack of interest or changed interest, another, too much money to proceed, too much money needed to invest in a property to bring it to its full realization, and properties that are now occupied, which are not do not satisfy the requirements. So the strategy did not turn out to be successful at this point. My communications with the property owners may still result in some movement, but by September 15th, I had requested sufficient information to submit an application to include third-party estimates of costs, a to-scale drawing of the intended outcomes, a financial plan demonstrating if the costs exceeded the available funding through the program, how would that be funded? Is the microphone available?
Well, it wasn't working the last time, but I can try it. No, because I don't know how to fix it. I don't know who asked that, but. When it gets that closer to you, we'll just see if they can hear you a little bit better. And I'll
Well,
try a new battery.
Right, it's probably being recorded well because the microphone is here, but the audience cannot hear me well enough. I'll speak louder. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So this strategy for workforce development at this junction has not been successful to incentivize property owners who would be eligible for this funding round. We still have some time for these property owners to reconsider. September 15th, I've asked for the data so that we can preview it with the funders to get the greater clarity about how to submit a proposal. So we can continue to move forward with it, but not optimistic that we'll be able to move this project forward as originally envisioned. We have a second opportunity to resubmit an intent to file an application. We can resubmit with a different set of properties and perhaps a different set of goals. In conversation with some, it's the recommendation that we move more in the direction of incentivizing commercial development. So that's an area, that's something we could consider, which means properties which have the potential for retail operations on Main Street. We could reconsider shifting in that direction, or look at re-envisioning with these property owners a new round of intent to apply. So at this point, given the status, I'm inviting comments about the nature of this program, about how the village can best access this type of fund, how we can best incentivize property owners to participate in the program. Gloria.
These property owners, do they have to put in some funds of their own?
Yes. Should the costs for redevelopment exceed the available funding, which is $70,000 per apartment unit or $150,000 per unit?
There you go. Sorry, it went off and I didn't. It's got to be far enough away from the.
If you can hear me, we can dispense with this. Or how's that? Better. Okay, I'll continue with the microphone. You're welcome. So if the cost to rehab or reconstruct exceed the funding that is available through this program, yes, the property owner would have to put in money.
Does that include the property next door?
Yes, it applies to any property.
So they're not gonna.
They withdrawn, but there may be an opportunity to work with them to, for us to be able to demolish the property. So this, we have not completed all the possibilities, but at this point, it's going to take some doing to move it forward. Yes, Anita.
Yes. Is there any property owner that is still willing to go forward with it? Or would one continue on the other?
Well, since my September 15th request date for submission of documents has not passed, some may come back,
Is it no one in the game right now?
not to my knowledge. Michelle?
At the planning board meeting last week, there was one that was still remaining. That one has dropped down.
As of today,
Has it?
the view was, I have to invest money up front.
So whether or not the cost of refurbishing or destruction is more than $70,000, there has to be owner participation.
That's correct.
Okay, because before you stated it, that if it was above 70,000, the owner was responsible. But there is owner participation no matter what.
Not no matter what. If the costs proposed is less than what the cap of the funding is, then it does not appear to be a requirement for the property owner to fund. But that only gets really determined after the construction cycle is complete.
Well, I think it's disappointing that having identified those properties and reached out to those building owners, that they have withdrawn. And I'm wondering whether or not there's a sort of cabal.
So, I have no idea. The properties are some quite unrelated, and each one has its own individual set of issues.
Is there not a request for drawings, to look at foundations to see if they're viable or not, and that's the cost up front? Is that what you mean, those costs for architectural drawings?
Right, architectural drawings are not required at this point, because that would be funded, if it's funded, but sufficient information, third-party cost estimates from a contractor who in the business of doing this, or an architect. We reached out to one architect to help provide guidance to this property owner who was recently withdrawn, because of the perspective of the costs being higher than they could accommodate. So the funder does not require engineer drawings, it doesn't require architectural drawings, it requires sufficient information. I would say drawings to scale, valid cost estimates from a credible source, giving sufficient information. Francia and Heidi, did you have your hand? Yeah, Francia and Heidi.
I don't understand what you just said, because, excuse me, in order to do what you just said, you would have to have architectural drawings. I mean, you know what I mean? In order to get a contractor, a contractor can't really build from nothing or give an estimate from nothing, so they would have need something, right? Even if it's just this is gonna be this many square feet, and it's gonna cost this much per square foot to build. There's gotta be something, right?
I would say so. We have the square footage of all the properties. And
So if you're demolishing and building something new, that isn't wrong, right?
I really can't answer the question. It seems to me that there are industry standards for construction. And should we have a certain number of square feet around which we want to build a structure with all utilities, there may be some standard costing approach to it as opposed to a design feature. So I don't have the answer to that question. Yes, Heidi.
So I have a few questions. Because again, I feel like this is really something wonderful. The sore points and make them into little gems and very practical and useful to the community. So if, some questions about the deadline. So if we, so the September 15th is the hard and fast deadline to get information on those properties.
That's my deadline.
That's your deadline. What is the deadline?
October 11th is the date at which the application needs to be submitted.
I'm sorry, say that again?
October 11th is the deadline in this cycle for submission of an application for funding.
And the next cycle, when is the next deadline?
So coincidentally, we can resubmit new intent to apply in October for a December full submission. This could give us some breathing time to work with the property owners or alternative property owners to get more traction.
Seems to me like that's a good, easy step that is not going to cost anyone anything, and it will buy us more time, and maybe we can work with the property owners, whatever it is we're looking for. Okay, so thank you. My second question is the cost. I think what Francis said is very important, that probably there's going to have to be some kind of architectural drawing of the cost. And then I had heard something about, last week I heard something about 10% of the renovation costs have to come from I heard 10% from 10,000, and now you're saying that there's 70K per apartment unit. So do you have a clearer idea of what those costs are, and is 70K per unit? So if you're doing 2 units, it's 140K, is that how it works?
Yeah, 70,000 is in the context of apartment buildings. $150,000 per unit is in the context of a structure, which may accommodate one homeowner or a multi-family house.
Thank you. I think,
We can come back to you if you have more questions.
okay, thank you.
Yes.
So I just heard you say that, there was a deadline. We have a little time to come back to the owner or alternative owner. So I wonder what you mean by alternative owner.
Given
Other properties?
yeah, other properties, other properties that were not in the original mix.
Okay.
There were initially 13. I was able to contact the majority of them, but not all of them. They're very tight window. And I think that the best thing that's really happened is that we've exposed an opportunity here that we should invest in, find a way to invest in as part of an economic development plan here in the village. And even if we're not successful on the first round, we have a marker in place. We have an understanding of what the program requires. And my assumption is that this program will again recur in a subsequent year, does not prevent us from going back again. So, what other thoughts? Yes, Roy.
You have an application for this program that sets the limitations and boundaries.
Yes, it's online.
It's online.
Yeah, and if anyone who wishes to get a copy of it, I can forward an email with the full guidelines and the application process. What other thoughts, comments? Yes, Gloria. I'm sorry.
A couple of trustees are not present.
Yes. Is that a question or a comment?
Where are they?
I am not their keeper. Where are they? Two trustees are not present.
Right.
Okay. This is has been a very time-consuming effort to communicate communicate the nature and to locate and communicate with property owners. And so I'm interested in handing off this project because it's taking more time, and it's a very important one, but it can't be done alone. So I'm looking for ways to offload some of this work. It's fundraising in nature, it's community building, it's collaboration, it's research. Oh, I'm sorry, Heidi, your question about the 10%, I'll come back to that. The grant requires a 10% match. And we have not yet, but we are approaching O'Connor to provide the 10% match to whatever size of the project is ultimately applied for. So that's a possibility. And
Is that 10% for each applicant or for the whole, in other words, O'Connor would come up with 5 or 6 properties, 10%?
however many properties we include in the application, the total cost picture, whatever that is, it would be off the total. So it's not evenly divided among, it's divided among 10% follows. Okay, so any more comments?
I just want to make sure I understand. You would be, you would be pleased if someone would step forward to act on behalf of the village with property owners with regard to an application for Restore New York.
Yes,
But the final application would be made by the village.
that's correct.
And the grant and the application and grant would be written by
By the Mark project,
the Mark Project.
that's been another slight wrinkle. But the executive director of the Mark project has moved on, so at this point, Peg Ellsworth has offered to assist where necessary, but that's not the level of support that we've been relying upon with the MARC project. She's not a temporary executive director. She's filling in on various tasks. Okay, so my preference is to keep this public hearing open so that we can take additional comments from the public. And close the public hearing in another week. At such time as we're more confirmed about the status of the program. So I'm not closing the public hearing. I'm adjourning? No. I'm keeping the public hearing open until such time as we close it. Yes.
I think that you are due a great deal of gratitude on behalf of
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to step aside from the public hearing, put this down. I think I'm going to. Yeah. If anyone wishes to review the list of properties that we have been discussing, they're here at the table, which you're welcome to review. Okay, so. Yes, Justin.
I have a question. Why would someone step forward to take over this effort when there's evidence from past board actions that the board may disapprove whatever we would want to send forward or conclude in a grant or submit a grant?
A valid question. Anything we do is a risk. And I think the conversation in the community has to be about building capacity here, building workforce housing, helping to restore derelict properties. Anything we do is a risk. Not doing it is a risk as well.
Would the board members present care to comment on that question?
Not at this time.
That sort of answers my question.
Okay. Okay. I would like to call the monthly regular meeting of the Board of Trustees to order. Roll call.
Yep. Stuart,
Here.
Here.
Yasmin. Here. Aaron's out, Sam's out.
Okay. Oh, pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a few announcements to make. Back in March, we set in motion a plan to restructure the staff to provide for a treasurer position, to delegate more of the work that I've been involved with since I've been here. And I'm pleased to announce that we have made an offer and we have a candidate who has accepted the position as a treasurer, deputy clerk to begin October 3rd. We have had the blessing of our bookkeeper, Barbara Cole, for a year and a half to carry us forward with our bookkeeping system. But at this point, we are looking to broaden that role and to expand the function into a treasurer and deputy clerk position. But Barbara, we thank you so much for your participation.
What's the new treasurer?
The new treasurer's name is Carol Schultes. She is a resident of Roxbury. She has experience as an office manager in a large creamery. She has experience in school-based accounting, municipal school-based accounting, and brings administrative skills to the task. I'd also like to announce that the state has issued a promulgation relating to smoking and vaping of tobacco and cannabis products, which are now prohibited on playgrounds during daylight hours when children are present. And as of October 13, smoking is prohibited everywhere in parks all the time. That's a promulgation from the executive order, the governor's office. Okay, so October 13. It's a New York State public health law. Moving on, approving prior minutes.
I make a motion to approve prior minutes for August 8th.
Okay.
That's my second.
Not much choice, eh? All those in favor? So carried. We have the monthly water system and wastewater treatment plant reports for the month of August. And we have the code enforcement report of permits and violations issued. Can I have a motion to accept those reports?
I'd like to make a comment. There were 6 alarms after hours in the month of August for the sewer department.
What?
There were 6 alarms that were after hours for the month of August, which is quite a bit less than it was last year.
What kind of alarms?
For the sewer.
What were they alarms about?
Fire?
It's a fire alarm or is it what?
Sewer alarm.
Sewer alarm, okay.
We're talking about the sewer.
Okay.
Sewer.
It wasn't clear from your comment.
Okay, so 6 alarms for August. There were also 6 alarms that went off in the month of July. There were no alarms that went off for the sewer in May or June. There was a light installed at the pump station at Depot Street. We're looking to put a switch on that light.
I think this is great news because of the manner in which Cedarwood has been managing the white situation here in the village. The white situation persists, but they are on a daily basis purging the pumps of wipes as they accumulate in the system. And having been doing that every day, which is not a practice they had done in the past, has contributed to these much better outcomes, but at some labor cost, some not inconsequential labor costs. Great. So can we have a motion to accept the water and wastewater treatment reports and the code enforcement report? So motion.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So carried. There is no monthly financial report for the month of August at this point. We'll catch up with that. However, several things need to be announced. We have done a final closeout of the budget modification process for the year that ended May 31, 2022, resulting in a surplus in the year that closed at that point in time. Happy to report. We have submitted the annual update financial report to the controller's office as required for the month of the year ending May 31. And so we're ahead of the game. And the last item is that I'm thrilled to report that FEMA has closed out the claims process and has issued a letter of satisfaction that the costs incurred to remedy the Hurricane Irene in the park, in the concession stand, in other areas of the village have been paid for and reimbursed by Homeland Security. And the claims are all closed and we can move on. And audited. So that's the,
So this comes into the treasury, how much is that?
the claims have already been paid and now they have been audited. And so
You're gonna get money back.
we have gotten all the money back that we have laid out during the process, and it's something in excess of $1 million. At the moment, I don't.
That's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, we did bench work, stream remediation work, significant amounts of work in the village on flood mitigation. Okay.
Do you currently, you village, have any bond anticipation notes or anything outstanding?
No, not at this time. We have a serial bond that's due in approximately 20 years, around which we make an annual payment, no interest costs related to the upgrade of the water system and the building of the water tower that took place 15 years ago, approximately. So that is a continuing obligation, which is funded out of the water system. That's the only debt the village has. Sam sent me reports on the pool. He wants to thank profusely our lifeguards, Sandra Gomez, Victoria Marine, and Mauricio Hernandez, and his volunteers who assisted without compensation in helping with gatekeeping. Lauren Gill, Jasmine, and Thalia Gill. And a big thank you to all the people that came and used the pool. Thanks for all your support. We have some technical work yet to do with the pool relating to the calibration of the pumps and for the installation of a pool cover. So that's work that is expected to take place during the fall. So that's Sam's report.
May I comment on the pool? Or wait?
Please wait for public comment, please.
Sure.
Any updates on the crosswalks?
Yes, we were able to install 4 crosswalks with the help of the Middletown DPW. We used their machine and purchased paint. The first crosswalk is at Lake Street in Maine, across Maine. Second, put it across Wagner Avenue by Main Street. The third one was by Halcott Road, and the last one was across Main Street by Little Red Hill.
Thank you, Sue, for your efforts in that area. Public spaces report, because you've got laryngitis, we'll postpone the next month, okay? And fundraising, we have submitted some additional proposals for funding $1,000 to the Department of State for to support equipment for the pool. Another grant to New York State Department of State for $11,000 for theater renovations, and to the summer youth program for funding of our interns this summer of $2,500. So we're trying to build our capacity here. Let's see, is there any other items to come before the board that you want to bring up at this point?
No.
Okay. So we can go to public comment section. Yes, Nancy.
I have 3 comments on different subjects. First, the pool, so excited to finally get the pool back. It was beautiful, it was buoyant. The only thing that it wasn't was heated. And I'm hoping that it will be heated in the future because, you know, I tried to swim last and I could only do 20 minutes, maybe 40. It's just, I think it was billed as heated, always has been heated, 67 degrees, tough. That's like beginning spring ocean temperature. So I'm hoping that there is going to be that happening, and I think that that would, you know, make more people interested and to join. Otherwise, so lovely, congratulations, finally, waiting many years. Number 2, what was number 2? Okay, I'm gonna go to number 3. But it's important, I'll think of it. But number 3, Labor Day weekend, I guess it was Sunday night, there were a couple of guys in the gazebo drinking and talking literally all night long. And I wonder who we need to call. I mean, I think, is drinking not allowed in people? I wouldn't think so.
You are correct.
And so do we just call the police or
The sheriff's office.
the sheriff's office? Okay. I'm gonna think of the second thing I wanted to comment on. What? No, I'll think of it. Someone else will.
Michelle.
Just would like to offer an observation with regard to the crosswalks. The
That was it. Go ahead.
crosswalk across Main Street, not really at Old Walcott Road, but in the vicinity of Old Walcott Road, is about 15 feet past the stop sign. And I've noticed that people are not stopping at the stop sign because they're assuming they should be stopped, that the stopping point would be the crosswalk. So there's a dissonance there. Either the crosswalk should be moved to where the stop sign is, or the stop sign should be moved right before the crosswalk. However, if the stop sign is moved right before the crosswalk, there is danger with the oncoming Main Street traffic coming from the east. So that needs to be looked at.
The group was supposed to put a stop line by the stop sign.
So
Here.
that's,
I Well, those, I guess they didn't get it done, but they were supposed to do that.
Okay, 'cause it's dangerous, I can see.
Right, so that for the stop line was supposed to be part of that.
Yeah, so there is no stop line.
Right, where, yeah, the village has no stop line. They never had.
Right, but there
They
wasn't
never
a
had stop.
crosswalk before.
Right,
so
they
there
never had a
wasn't any
crosswalk.
Confusion as to where this.
Right,
where
right,
it's going.
right.
And
Their
I-
instruction was to put a stop line there.
Okay, so
So
since
that
that
didn't
has
get
not
followed.
happened, since that has not happened, there needs to be some remediation because I have, as a driver, noticed several times other drivers' confusion and there's potential for accident there.
Right, it's important for that stop line because it also is in other locations that the stop lines have not yet gone in. But thank you.
Okay, do you want me to make that other announcement?
Yes. Yes, this is a good time.
All right, so at the request of Winifred, I reached out to Sue McIntyre at the Department of
Public Works?
Public Works to get information with regard to the new footbridge, which I'm sure most of you have noticed is close to completion. And the goal is to have a opening celebration for the bridge and its use. So there are a couple of things that will weigh in terms of such an opening ceremony. The contract with Hubble Brothers requires substantial completion of the work by the end of September, so I think that would be the 30th. Then there is a 30-day period for, I don't know what the correct technical term is, but essentially it's the punch list portion, which would carry through the end of October. Sue McIntyre is 75 to 100% confident that the significant work will indeed be done by the end of September. So that brings us to when we can have a ribbon cutting, which the mayor would very much like to do, and which Sue McIntyre is also very happy to be involved with. And we are looking at October 1 as the date when there would be an event in the village to celebrate the completion of the bridge. The plan is to invite dignitaries, other elected officials who contributed in their efforts in support of the project, representatives of Majorsky and Master, who were the design engineers, and also Delaware Engineering that did the inspections as well as the adjustments on the sewer. There is some minor work that should be completed by the end of September, and we're looking to have a terrific positive story about this final, I guess it's the final post-hurricane project. So look for an invitation which will come from the mayor and the director McIntyre from Public Works. Fleischman's first, at the request of the mayor, is going to be organizing the event. And we are looking to have a festive outing on October 1st. If not October 1st, it will move to October 8th. I think that covers it.
Yes. Thank you, Michelle. You're back in the events business. Yes, Nancy.
I just wanted to say that not as exciting as that, because bridge is so exciting, and I talk to the workmen all the time, and actually they let me walk in front of the bridge one day. Well, they were watching, and it was all okay.
You have to pay for that.
I will. I ride my bike there every day. But as far as the pedestrian crossing is, everywhere else I go, there are signs with at least a picture of pedestrians, if not a sign that says New York State laws that you have to stop for pedestrians. And none of ours have any signs yet. I know another time you were saying we don't want to have too many signs, but those are very important signs, I think. And I wonder, you know, and hope that you will be getting those signs. I imagine Stuart is in charge of getting those signs.
No, no.
Yeah,
The Department of Highway.
Oh, so.
I'm in the sewer.
Oh, I see. So you're not.
I do
the
sewers.
highway
Well,
superintendent.
I'm helping.
I thought you were the highway superintendent.
No, I'm helping.
That's,
Interesting.
they issue
I'm
those,
helping.
correct? Is that correct? They issue the signs?
Right, I told the highway department the signs that were required, so the highway department of the village understands what's required.
For the village.
Right, they know what's
Yeah,
required.
we're talking about Corky and Sean.
Okay. So they're gonna order those signs. For somebody is, or-
Yes, and
Did I-
my intent, we intended to have one of those large, at the intersection of Main and Lake, to have one of the larger yellow pedestrian graphics, which appear in many communities.
Right.
What ended up getting was a little 6x8 sign, so we had some miscommunication around that, but we'll be working on that. Yes, because that intersection of the Bridge Street and Wagner is a hazardous intersection that needs attention because of the speeding of cars and the like.
And hopefully they're all gonna have some kind of sign. Because otherwise they're, you know, a little white.
Right. Any more public comments? Yes, sir.
The next meeting, October 10th, is Halloween, beach Halloween,
Oh, so we should reschedule.
10 and 11.
So we should reconsider that date.
10 is Columbus Day.
And 10th is Columbus Day? Oh, we sure picked a good one. So either we do it a week early, or a week late.
A week late is also Halloween.
Week earlier, scheduled for.
Week early, so it's going to be a challenging,
We can try the Wednesday.
a different day of the week would work in the context of the holidays.
It's not a holiday, it's,
That's 17.
No, we're talking about the 12th.
The 12th, we're talking about Wednesday, the 12th. Okay, I'm going to, so tentatively, we're setting it for Wednesday, the 12th of October. For, okay. I just have to figure, October 11th is our application date, and we may need a board resolution. We might, don't know. So what if we did it Tuesday, the 11th?
I thought you said that was also a holiday.
That's also a holiday. Okay, so, okay, so I'm going to work out on this, sorting out about the October 11th. It's quite likely that we will not be submitting an application for the Restore New York program on October 11th, which means we won't need a resolution at that time. If we do, we can convene a board meeting at an earlier date for the purpose of taking action as necessary. Okay, so for now, Wednesday, October 12th is the next village board meeting. Thank you, Edie. Any other public comments? Gloria, where are you? No, sorry. Okay, so then, can I have a motion to audit the vouchers?
Make a motion on vouchers.
So moved, all in favor?
Aye.
It's okay. And I have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn. the meeting.
All those in favor? Aye.